Welcome to another of the Builders Agency Lessons. Today I actually have a number of lessons. Most of the time I think I usually talk about just one, but I have so many things going on and some of them are smaller in scope, so we'll just knock them out. The first thing I want to talk about is, as a business owner, as an agency owner, realizing that the people you hire or that just in general, there's other people that can do things for you. And it's a beautiful thing, and don't fight it. So the reason why I thought of this topic, and I actually have a couple examples this week, is as you know, if you follow this YouTube channel, that I have actually hired a project manager, right? And she's been with me now for, a month and a half or something. I don't even know. Time flies. But this morning we were discussing, she had this idea around creating a calendar to track some things. And I said, okay, that's a great idea. I'm like, I'll go set up a calendar and invite everyone. She's like, I got it. I'll do it and invite everyone. And I'm like, she can do that. I'm like, you don't fight it. I mean, that's actually part of her role, and that can be part of her role, what she was doing there. There was another example this week where now I'm used to a number of the agency partnerships I have, or the direct clients. I run kind of the whole show. When it comes to developing a website, specifically, so this week we're talking about developing a website. Okay, so it was designed, it was developed, and we're preparing for launch. We're preparing for liftoff. And so we were actually, for this particular website I'm talking about today, it's a new partnership that was formed this year. And they're a larger agency, so there's a lot of people involved, and there's actually a dedicated project manager to handle the logistics of everything and what's going on. And we've been working on this large piece for this website, and then it kind of dawned on me. I'm like, oh, when we're done with this, are we done? And so I asked, I'm like, do you need help with the actual launch? Because I'm used to, like, for my agency, I'm the server guy. I'm the domain, setting up DNS and, name servers, or, worrying about email and all that stuff. That usually falls on my plate. That's my, one of my biggest roles. I don't get help with that at this point. And she's like, no, we got that covered. So-and-so is going to take care of that. It would be great, though, if you're, you're around, during the launch day in case we need you. I'm like, perfect. So it's another example where, as especially if you've been running a business for a while, it's like, you don't, you feel like you should be doing everything and you want to be contributing to everything, but that agency is the same thing. Not everyone has their role. It's okay that you're not doing everything. Just got to know where those delineations are, like where your role starts and where it ends. So I'm going to pivot now to another lesson. This one is just actually podcasting. If you're listening to this, it's the Builders Agency Lessons, but it stems from the Builders podcast. And it's just another way to talk about things we build. In my case, the agency. And so what I want to talk about is actually the podcast itself. So I had a really, really great recording this week. He's going to be on, his name's Bob. He'll be on, I think I have 2 in front of him. Maybe I have just 1 in front of him. So in a couple weeks, I'll be publishing this one. So look out for Bob. But Bob and I had an amazing conversation. It went a full hour, I think. I'm pretty sure it was pretty close to an hour. And I just wanted to keep asking him stuff because it's actually on a topic that I'm very interested in. I'm interested in all business topics, but this one in particular, I haven't talked to anybody on the podcast about. And Bob is really, really knowledgeable in this area. And it's related to, just as a hint, it's related to finance, getting loans, getting joint venture capitalists. I think that's what I was looking for. You know, like all the differences there and how to prepare for that, what you need to do, what's possible. But I just was grilling him with all these questions, and he was loving it. But it's really it was really great learning those things. And I think as a business owner, if you have a business, you have an agency, you're wondering if you should have a podcast, this is one of the benefits. Yeah, it's the networking. Yeah, it's the content. Yeah, there's a bunch of benefits with podcasting. But one of them is also you can learn. You can fill in some of your knowledge gaps. You know, that was an area like that I've picked a few people's brains about, maybe even a little bit on this podcast. But if there's something related to what you're doing in your business and you want to get better at, having people on to talk about that stuff is great. And by the way, there's a side lesson on that too. It was Bob's second podcast he's ever been on. The first one was like the hour before. It's like doing his first two that one day. But we talk a little bit about that, getting out of your comfort zone, and because he's more of a behind the scenes kind of guy, and he's trying to, you know, he's got a decent sized company. They do a lot. But to be out, you know, putting yourself out there in that challenge, he's got some good insights on that. He's very inspiring that way. The other thing with that, with the podcast too, another thing that kind of happened this week, shout out to you if you're listening to this, is somebody approached me about redoing their website, and they were a guest on this podcast. Again, now I'm top of mind because we built that relationship with the podcast. Another good reason to have a podcast. Build relationships, meet great people. And I don't know if we'll do anything or not, or if it'll, you know, they seemed interested, but you know, that can go either way, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change your relationship, doesn't do anything. But if we can help them, great, you know, or vice versa. Someday I can help him. That's how it works. That's part of networking, part of building those relationships. You never know where it's going to come from. I wouldn't have guessed that he would have been approaching me this week about that, jumping on a call and talking about the project. Wasn't planning for that, and it just happened. So again, could go anywhere. We could do it. We could not do it. Doesn't matter. But it is definitely a benefit with a podcast. Those relationships you're building are, you know, it can lead to many different things. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's like any kind of networking. It's going to happen over time, organically. You don't force it. Last but not least, the last lesson. Let's pivot to this lesson. You never know who's watching you. So, a little backstory here. So, I have a small list. I do. It stems from from Hexeter. Okay, so Hexeter was a WordPress theme marketplace that I helped build, and then I acquired, and then ran for a few years, and then closed. Okay, lots of reasons, big story around that, right? But I never got rid of the list because I know how valuable a list is. Now, this particular list, the Hexeter list, there's been other trickles of people being added to that list as well, even since we closed, right? I have different avenues people can get in there. But it's a smaller list. It's not, you know, tiny. It's not like 10 people, but it's, you know, it's also not tens of thousands. But it's enough. It gets a 30% open rate, and it gets, you know, and hundreds of people open it every time I send out, right? It's something, right? It's valuable. It's an asset for me. It was very, very difficult, though, for me to really think about what I was going to do with that list when I closed Hexeter down. And I did this really crazy thing. I basically rebranded the newsletter. It was basically a newsletter. And it's a newsletter of buyers because the only people on this list are all people that bought themes. And I've pared it down. I've gotten rid of, like I've really worked on this list and worked, how you can filter it and see who's actually active and doing all that. I've done that, kind of grooming it over time. And I lost a lot of people when I did that rebrand because it was Hexeter and now it's rebranded as Unified Toolkit. And so it took a while, but there's a lot of people that stuck around and maybe out of curiosity it was still, the topic itself didn't change because Hexeter was all about WordPress. Unified Toolkit's all about WordPress. It's basically a WordPress toolkit. We might do other things with that as well, but that's really at the core of it right now. So all these people are still very interested in what we're doing. There might be agencies on there, freelancers. There might be just people that have businesses that are interested in what we're doing. So one of the things I do, and here's the lesson. So, the lesson is, number one, lists are valuable, right? Don't take them for granted. Don't keep them warm. This was a really difficult list for me to keep warm, especially since we haven't launched Unified Toolkit yet. So I closed down a business. I rebranded it for a business I haven't opened yet. Anyway, but that's number one, right? But I understand the value of even a list of a few hundred people, right? That open it, so it's more than that. So it was actually in the thousands. It was, but by the time I pare it all down, it's a little bit below 1,000. So what happens? So every time I send out, I do tend to, because I can with the size, is I tend to skim down all the list of people that open. I look at my analytics, so I can see who opened. And honestly, there's a lot of people on that list. I have no idea who they are. I don't know. They're just random customers that joined at some point. But I do recognize some names. And this past week, I was going down that list and I stopped and I stared at this one name that I didn't realize was on this list. And maybe he's opened it before, maybe not. But it's somebody that I know has a large list. And it's a very popular internet marketer. He's been around for decades. I've actually met him. I met him at seminars years ago. I know him through some other mutual friends. And he was interested in one of my emails that I sent out about our plugins. So here is a situation where I just I basically drilled home the fact that this is a good thing that I did. I don't know, again, kind of like the website thing, I don't know if it'll turn into anything. I don't know if he'll see. I understand, because I've had conversations with him, what he's looking for. And this could be an opportunity where somebody promotes me. Maybe not. But he's got a large list. He's always looking for things to promote to his list. There is an opportunity there that could happen if I play my cards right. Well, it's not even playing my cards right. It's if I create a great product and it's something that he thinks is going to be good for his list, then maybe I have a really great affiliate and some sales to look forward to in the future. One of the big things with my product line, and one of the reasons I'm doing it, is because it's another revenue stream, but it also kind of builds into what we do with on the services side. But also, I can attract affiliates. There's a method to my madness. Anyway, those are the lessons. So number one, it's okay if you're a business owner for people to do things for you. And remember, if you have people that you hired that maybe that task you usually do, you don't need to do anymore. You can take that off your plate. Somebody, and it's really, really great when you found yourself an employee that says something like, I'll take care of that. Look for those employees. Podcast, really great. If you're thinking about doing it, want to test the waters, go for it. There's nothing you can lose, right? Give it some time. Try it out. See if you can show up every week. or every couple of weeks, whatever you decide to do something, see if you can do it. Start solo if you want to start solo, or try to do guests. But there's a lot of benefits to podcasting. And who's watching? No matter what you're doing, even on social media, all the things you're doing may not seem like on the surface that it matters right now. You may not be making money from that list right now. You may not be making money from all the activities you got going on in social media right now. But it only takes that one affiliate, that one person, that one partnership that stems out of something that you're doing or just pops up one day to change your entire business or to bring in more business or whatever. So all the efforts you're doing, even if right now it doesn't seem like it's really doing a lot, stick with it. Till next time, take care.